I've had to teach myself over time that I can do hard things and to not have fear. But I tell you, it has been a challenge because you're going through that and you are freaking out, basically living in 8 weeks of fear of how hard is this test going to be? Am I smart enough to pass it? Did I study hard enough? Did I just waste my family's money? What am I doing? I don't even have a network. How am I supposed to do this? Where am I going to go? Lots of fear on a daily basis, but at some point, you have to reaffirm yourself.
Hey y'all, I'm Kimberly Warner, mama of 2, lover of shoes, and serial entrepreneur. I've dedicated my life to helping women succeed in business by just being themselves. But the path isn't always easy. I was targeted for having an authentic opinion on something that happened to my town, to my businesses. I was attacked for publicly speaking my beliefs, and then I was reduced to a cliche. Aggressively blonde, too dumb to know what I'm talking about. This is why your husband left you. After these attacks, I spent 9 days in bed, debilitated by fear, until I pulled myself up by my big girl pants and chose to lean into my fear and not be silenced by it. This podcast is for everyone who has experienced fear or regret. You will learn how others like me have risen from the ashes and are better for it. Here we go. Hey y'all, it's Kimberly, and we are back for another episode of Fearlessly Authentique. As usual, I am so excited to welcome a guest to the show. And one of the things that I love about this person is, as I said before, I love inspiring people, and I never really knew I was an inspiration to this person until she literally stopped me on the street at a conference in Minneapolis several years ago, and I was like blown away. She's like, you're Kimberly Warner and I want to be your friend or something like that. I was like, great, you look like my little sister. Let's do it. She's blonde, she's gorgeous, and she's my friend, Colleen Martens. I love this lady. She's a super hard worker. We met each other and in the world of direct sales, but she did make a huge career transition during a really challenging time in her life. She still found a way to rise from the ashes and be better for it. I can't wait for you to hear her story. Colleen, just tell our guests about you and when you and I met, where you were living and what your situation was, and a little bit about all that.
I love this. Thank you for having me. I'm uber fangirling at the moment, and it's so weird because we're friends. We've been friends for the last 4 years, so I shouldn't feel so nervously excited to see you, but we never see each other.
I know.
Closet to closet. Girl.
I know. We're both in closets right now. It's hilarious. And it's so funny because we live in totally different states, and we always have. But pre-COVID, we would at least get to see each other when we were in the same direct selling company at conferences and such, at least once or twice a year.
True. That is so true. I know now we just have to deal with Instagram and FaceTime, but I'll take it. It's better than nothing. So thank you for having me.
Well, we're so excited to have you.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to be here. I remember the first time we met. We were in the middle of the street. You were walking with another one of your friends who I also looked up to, and I still do.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh my gosh, Kimberly Warner? I've never had a problem saying hi to anybody. I don't care who it is. I don't care how famous they are, how non-famous they are. I will always say hi and introduce myself. I believe in the power of making friends and networking. And you were somebody that I looked up to. And so why not? Plus, when you find another blonde friend who dresses really cute, you want to be their friend. Hello.
Very few people can pull off platinum blonde the way we can. I'm just saying.
I agree.
So you were living where? You were living in Oklahoma. Is that correct?
I was. Yep. I was in Oklahoma at the time.
With your husband and your how many kids?
5 kids.
Okay, y'all. 5 kids. She's got 5 kids. I keep looking at your teeth because they're so white. And I'm like, how? Why are your teeth so white? How do you have time to brush your teeth? You have 5 kids. I can't even imagine. So I don't know. You're just beautiful all around, obviously. You
were so sweet.
What were you saying? You make time for what's important?
You make time for the things that are important to you, like having sex with your husband and brushing your teeth. I don't know what else to say.
And there you have it, folks. That's this episode of Fearlessly Authentique. That's how you have 5 kids.
Have sex and brush your teeth. Exactly. No, my husband's really good looking, and he was in the military. So, of course, it was not hard at all for me to just keep popping out children. I mean, I laugh when I say this, but I guess it's pretty accurate. I literally felt like I was a rental tent for my 5 children over the span of a decade. My entire 20s, y'all, was spent having babies. So
the fact that you had babies in your early mid 20s is crazy to me just to begin with, because you were so young. And the fact that you say y'all, and I do too, even though I live in Wisconsin, is my favorite thing. It's like my favorite commonality we have with each other. Okay, so we were in this direct selling company together, and you made a pretty big decision. And I want you to kind of tell us like what led up to that decision and because you kind of called me and we had some conversations, and I want you to tell everyone about that.
I did. So, when you and I met, I was almost at the point of attaining that senior leadership level. I remember calling you and asking you something along the lines of, how do you keep your marriage together and still run your business? Because I think that's something that many of us struggle with, whether some people want to admit it or not, which is totally up to them. I am a very transparent person, and I really like sharing my story with people because I always believe there is power in that, and there's value in sharing your testimony with somebody else who might be going through the same situation and maybe just not bold enough to say it.
Absolutely.
And so we were really it was around year 13 of our marriage that we went through a really, really, really low spot. And I mean, it was very scary and very real. And had we not gotten the help that we both felt that we really needed, I don't know that we'd still be together. But the important thing is that people can change. And we do an enormous amount of I love yous and I forgive yous, 110% in this household. And those are values we instill in our children as well. I just believe it's really important. But at this point, I remember we were just in a really tough spot. My mom has been struggling with some health issues, and she's out here in Charlotte where we live. And we just felt like, you know what? We've been out here for long enough. We were in Oklahoma for my husband's job for 6 years, and we had a really great church family out there. But our family was on the East Coast. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C. My parents, my sister, everybody lives on this coast. And being in Oklahoma was just... it had its time and place, but if we were really going to move forward and really repair our marriage seriously, we needed to make a move, and that was to be near family.
So let me back you up for just 1 second, because when you did ask me that question, I remember responding in something to the effect of, if you were the first person in this industry to have asked me that question, I would be totally lying. I had that exact same question asked to me, and I also asked that same question to others above me. And, and I am divorced at this point. And I do think that part of the golden handcuff of that industry is that you can't say no. You're kind of always, you have this huge network, this huge team, this family. And so you're supporting them all the time. And then something has to give. And sometimes it's your own family. And so I know that it wasn't necessarily all the fault of direct sales, but do you feel in any way that because you are a very traditional mom like me, you got married wanting to be a stay-at-home mom and wanting to care for your kids and nurse and, and feed your husband and plate the food and the whole Southern Belle thing, which I love. And I was like that as well. But then I needed a little something for myself. And so when I went into this direct selling company, I blew up super fast. I know you did too. Do you feel like that contributed to some of the problems that you were having in your marriage? Because I would say 100% it was true for me.
100% over here as well. And I think the problem was I didn't set boundaries. I think it's important, regardless of what you do in life, you have to have boundaries. And at some point, work has to get shut off. And in this, line of direct sales, you really thrive on partying in the evening and working after hours. And that's typically, my husband comes home. And so if I'm saying, hey, love you, dinner's ready, take care of the kids, I need to go do this party, or I need to work, or I need to do this or that.
Yep.
you can only take so much
Right.
until you start going in completely opposite directions. And that is exactly where we fell into. And so I was really thankful that I had a super supportive husband, and the fact that we were both really hurt by things that had happened in our marriage, and strong enough to say, you know what, let's do this. Like, let's really work hard and commit together to have clear communication, to set boundaries, to have transparency, to be 100% truthful and honest at all times. And that really makes a difference. So I'm thankful that he was willing to say goodbye to his job, because he had a really great job in Oklahoma where he made really good money.
Well, and you, not to interrupt you, but you also then were making the sacrifice to walk away from this particular level of leadership that you were at, which was very high, and to move toward family to not only heal your marriage, but just create this whole new life for yourself.
Right. And what's funny is that I honestly thought I could literally move halfway across the country from Oklahoma to North Carolina and still keep my direct sales business 100% intact. And that was a lie because we made a massive move with all of our children, and we moved in with my mom and my stepdad. So I'm literally in this place of living in this house where I'm starting to become a caretaker for my mom in her poor health. And that was very defeating to me. I felt a sense of obligation to care for her, but at the same time, I felt so ill-prepared to do so. And it was really gut-wrenching what she's been going through and really hard to watch. And there's days where she wouldn't know who I was.
Do you mind telling us? Do you mind telling us?
I don't mind. She has Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Yeah. She has Alzheimer's. It's genetic in our family. My aunt, who is her older sister, passed away 2 years ago from it, right as we were moving out here. So fortunately, we were here and able to go to her funeral. She was buried at Arlington Cemetery with her husband. It's obviously a very nasty disease, and it's very hard. And my mom is young. She's going to be 72 this Christmas, and she has declined so rapidly. And so to go from, first off, when I left living out in the DC area about 8 years ago, and we moved to Oklahoma, my mom was still the mom that everybody, loves to have. She was the entertainer. She took care of the kids. She babysat. She loved on us. She would come over and cook and clean and do the hard things that I didn't always want to do, being pregnant. And when we left and we were out there, we would have conversations every now and then, but I didn't get to see her often. Yeah. And so we decided it's time that we be there because we don't know how much time we have left. So moving out here, moving in with them was very hard. And I thought, I can care for my mom and I can still do direct sales. It's going to be fine. We're going to be good. My team's going to be okay. And the fact is, it really just wasn't. And there's a lot more that goes into it. I am definitely a faith-filled believer. I'm a Christian.
Yep.
And we were going to this church out here, which we still actively participate in, and which also was huge in helping repair our marriage. I have to be honest.
Great.
And honestly, glory to God for all of that. But we were going, and I remember I was at Costco this one day with my sister. And in the matter of this 1 week, she was the third person to tell me, you need to go into real estate. And I sat there and said, why does everybody keep telling me I need to go into real estate? I'm in direct sales. I love direct sales.
Now,
good.
Was this because maybe were you expressing fear to people at the time that I don't know if I can care for my mom and continue to care for my team at the level I need to and continue to make, there's a lot of boxes you have to check to get, what we call paid at title or paid for your level. And so a lot of boxes have to be checked, and it is a full-time job, and you were at a full-time level. And so was there any amount of fear in you that you were maybe you weren't articulating it outwardly, but do you think maybe subconsciously you were? And so then therefore people were just seeing some sort of energy in you and trying to give you an opportunity of something else that might make you, happy or happier? Or had you not expressed any fear at that point?
I hadn't expressed fear outwardly on a public level. I remember working really, really hard to earn this one incentive trip, which I did. And it was on that incentive trip I was on with all of our girlfriends that they were saying, oh, we're almost earning the next one. Are you going? You're going to be there, right? And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, because not only was I not going to, like, I would love to go if I earned it. The truth is, doing a cross-country move and taking care of your mother who's ill it's just very challenging, while trying to repair your marriage, while trying to get your kids into different schools, because 5 kids, 4 different schools. So it was
in a
the
whole
biggest
new
challenge.
state with, yes, some family, but you didn't have like a friend network yet, right?
No.
Correct.
No,
Okay.
you know, when you move anywhere, you have to start over, because your family's friends aren't always your friends. And that's just how it goes.
Right.
And so I remember, fast forward being at Costco with my sister and her saying, you should go into real estate. I'm like, that's the 3rd time somebody in the matter of a week has said that to me. And
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And
your
she
sister
said, well, then,
and like random people, or like who else besides your sister? Do you remember?
No, I can't even remember. I think it was other friends, like randomly other friends. And what I learned was this was God speaking to other people. And I've always just had that inner still voice of God that I've heard. And this one, I think I was very fearful of making the change. So therefore, I didn't choose to listen to it.
Right.
And it was the following Sunday after my sister had said that to me in the parking lot of Costco that the pastor who's preaching, turns and looks at the camera, because we were at a satellite church at this point, and says, sometimes God speaks through other people because you ain't listening.
Oh, I love that. That's so cute.
And it didn't even have anything to do with the message, Kimberly. And I'm sitting there like, Lord, I hear you. I think you're telling me I have to go into real estate. Yep. I had no clue.
Yeah.
And it was at that point that I sat there and
That gives me
questioned.
goosebumps, Colleen. That gives me goosebumps, because it's just, it's like a moment where you were really breaking. When I say it's a golden handcuff, it is a golden handcuff. That is a very hard decision to make at the level that you were at. I mean, you were inches away from, like, there were only like 2 more levels above where you were at, and then you were me, at the top of the top or whatever. And that is like, that's a big deal, And so for you to just hear his voice or hear the voice and go, okay, I'm going to break this golden handcuff, to me is just so inspiring. But were you not so terrified to do it?
Oh my gosh, I was totally terrified, because a lot of it was a pride issue, Kimberly.
Yes.
You work so hard and you bust your butt and you stay up late so many nights and you count on people and you instill in your team and you love on others and you share your message to help promote you to that next level. And it almost becomes a power trip where you keep getting hungry for more.
Yes.
And I didn't care how firmly my base was stacked. I was just still trying to climb to the top as fast as I could. And that was when God was like, listen, I need you to submit, because I gave you that title and I can take it away. And it was in that moment that I'm like, okay, yes, Lord, whatever it is. And so I remember the next day, as I'm on my computer searching, real estate schools in the Charlotte area, that I'm shaking, about to make a decision. I didn't even know what real estate was.
I knew
what to do, but I had no clue. No clue. No.
I was going to say, has anyone in your family been in real estate, or do you have any like friends or anything? Or were you kind of going blindly into like, I just am going to go because people tell me I could be good at it and I just want to learn about it? I mean, obviously you like design and, and your house is super cute from photos I see, and you're always put to the nines, like earrings and lipstick and the whole thing. So, I mean, you're like a well-decorated house just as a person. So I feel like probably you have a vision when you see houses, and you can help stage, and you're obviously a great salesperson, or you wouldn't have been as high ranking as you were in this business that we shared together. So, yes. I mean, but were you just like scared? I mean, you have to take a test and study, and like it's a whole situation.
Oh my gosh. I was petrified, because keep in mind, I've already got, at this point, it was 10 years of direct sales experience under my belt. I was really successful at what I did. I love to help people, and I'm really good at selling. So together they make this incredible combination to help get you what you want.
Right. And I think people do forget, though, that direct sales, not every company, but the ones that you work for were very service-based. I mean, you were serving people. It wasn't like you were just like trying to claw your way to the top, money hungry, whatever. You were working hard and working nights and taking time away from your husband and your family, because you were serving other people for the better. We were giving them a product that was going to enhance their life and also their health. And so you were doing it in a service situation. It wasn't like, you made it seem like, it was ego, but you were also serving a lot of people in that time.
Absolutely. If you're going to devote yourself to something, you have to love the cause. You
Correct.
have to love the mission, and you have to have a great why that motivates you every day to get up and keep going. And because that product plus health is so interwoven together, it became personal for me because my mom was the one who actually introduced me to that product 5 years before.
Oh, okay.
And it's just funny how God works through those situations. But I was absolutely terrified of real estate school because I'll be transparent, I didn't even know what the heck equity was. Okay, I've heard it. I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
I get it. I didn't. Going to real estate school in North Carolina, and this was at the time I went through this, was the very beginning of 2019. You have to be in class for a certain amount of hours, and then you basically have to double your study time. And I went through a course that was 8 weeks long.
Okay.
To where they tell you, if you don't take this seriously and tell your family, I love you, bye, I'll see you in 8 weeks when I'm done and pass this thing.
No way.
You don't pass. I'm not even kidding you.
Whoa.
The rate of people who don't pass this test on the first time around and have to either retake the exam or retake the entire class is astronomical. I've
heard that.
And I got in with the right study group. I took it seriously. My family was ultra supportive and said, no problem. My husband was like, hey, he's working all the time opening up a restaurant because he was in hospitality. And
who's that, your husband?
My husband. This was at the time we were going through this. He's been in hospitality for a very long time. He's no longer in it. He was furloughed. Thank you, COVID. It's okay. I'm telling you, this is all part of the story because God works everything for good. But at that time, he was so generous with his heart because he was really excited for this. Because honestly, getting into real estate means you can create your own future.
Yes.
And that is the key to generating wealth. If you are very smart, you have your business plan, you're budgeted, you can create lots of income and just wealth. That's what our family really needs. It always has felt like a rat race with 5 kids, expensive groceries. We've got 3 of them who are boys and they eat adult menu every time we go somewhere.
For sure.
And so, I mean, we're basically feeding 5 adults and 2 children.
This is why I do not have 5 kids, just FYI.
I didn't think about this. My parents always, heated me. Be careful, Colleen. You know how that happens.
Because you do have to pay for them, at some point. They are going to not want to just nurse and snuggle with you. Eventually, they're going to want to eat steak.
Yes, they do. And then when you have lamb, they're like, ooh, I want that too. No. You can have the chicken nuggets, my friend. No, we definitely, they eat well. They really do.
Pure Love Essences. This is my friend, Jody. She's amazing. She spent 17 years doing marketing for financial companies. And then one day she got into her kitchen and she just wanted to create the perfect perfume for herself. She was really concerned about natural and, vegan and eco-friendly and ethically sourced and all that good stuff. And so she created this own, her own brand, her own perfume, her own, cologne spray and oil roll-on type situation. And what happened after that was everywhere she went, people followed her. They were like, what are you wearing? She calls it the catnip of fragrance. I love that saying, catnip, because, it's irresistible. So when I wear it, people follow me around in Costco, no lie. And they're like, I'm sorry, I've been following you around for 4 aisles. I just want to know what you're wearing. And what I'm wearing is her Moroccan scent. Pure Love Essences has 3 scents. They are all sort of unisex, but the original is boho, has a little bit of undertones of patchouli. Then we have the Moroccan, which has little undertones of coconut. It's super beachy and lovely. And then there's Rebel, which is for men, and it's leathery and it's sexy and it's hot. And you definitely want to get it for your man. And we are coming upon the Christmas season, so check out pureloveessences.com. Use the coupon code FA20 and receive 20% off all orders of $52 or more. You can also find them at Authentique in Kenosha, Wisconsin. 625 57th Street is Authentique. And also, you can find it online at AuthenticGifts.com. But if you want to take advantage of 20% off, which you do, you want to go to PureLoveEssences.com and use coupon code FA20. You are going to love this natural, amazing scent. Please check out my friend Jody. She's amazing. Love this woman, local, and also just a really decent, beautiful human being. PureLoveEssences.com. So you were excited. You get in.
Yes.
You obviously pass, I'm guessing.
I do. I passed the first time around.
Awesome. Congratulations.
No joke. Thank you. I studied my butt off. I tutored. I was in a study group. And all of us in our study group passed the first time around. And it was at that point that I made my decision which brokerage I wanted to join. And I just took off. I hit the ground running and thought, you know what? Nobody can stand in your way. You're the only person who stands in your own way.
You were always like that, though, as from the day I met you, like when you ran up to me in the street. Let me back up and ask you one question. Was there any moment after you took that test where fear set in and you were like, if I don't pass XYZ?
It was during studying for that exam that I lost my senior title with the direct sales company we were in, and where I was so fearing that was coming, because I just had this, I knew it was coming, but God said submit.
But you were still scared. You know, the whole message I want for you to translate to, everyone is that as a woman, we go through so many ups and downs, and kids and husbands, all this kind of stuff. And when you try to have a business too and be successful, the fear of not only losing what you had spent so much time building, but also in the midst of waiting to find out if you pass this new, obstacle that could potentially bring you a whole new business. I mean,
yes.
And your husband, and your husband's working in hospitality, and my brother-in-law works in hospitality, and my younger brother used to, and my sister used to. I know that that's not a lot of money in that industry, so that is not buying steak. So there had to have been a moment where fear set in, and you were like, what if I don't pass?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be human if I didn't have those fearful moments. I've had to teach myself over time that I can do hard things and to not have fear. But I tell you, it has been a challenge, because you're going through that and you are freaking out, basically living in 8 weeks of fear of how hard is this test going to be? Am I smart enough to pass it? Did I study hard enough? Did I just waste my family's money? Because this is expensive.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No, what am I doing? I don't even have a network. How am I supposed to do this? Where am I going to go? Lots of fear on a daily basis, but at some point, you have to reaffirm yourself.
Right. Is that what helped you get through it? Do you think?
Yeah.
Reaffirming yourself, and of course your faith. Was there anything?
Absolutely.
Was there anything else that helped you get through it when it was super scary? Like anything tactical, like a book or a show? Oh, look at you pulling out a book right now.
I pulled out a book because I love this.
Okay.
It's a book called More Power to You, 52 Devotions and Declarations to Break Free from Fear and Take Back Your Life. I love it. It's by Margaret Feinberg. I heard it when I was on a podcast. Phenomenal book, because it is so easy to not believe in yourself and believe that, well, in addition to wasting money and not being smart enough, now you're not pretty enough. Now you're not capable enough. Now you're not good enough. Now you're not attractive enough. All the fears that we as women struggle with absolutely are real.
Well, that's why I'm here doing this podcast, is because I made a choice, and I wish I would have had this book, because that seems like it could have been helpful. And I love to give all of our listeners tactical things to do when they're in situations such as this, or maybe different but similar, that they can relate to.
Absolutely. Sometimes it involves a really good bubble bath with a glass of wine or your favorite mocktail. And honestly, just, a book, a good book.
Does it have to be a mocktail, or can it actually be a cocktail?
I drink cocktails,
okay,
but not
just
everybody drinks, Kimberly. So mocktail.
Oh, shoot. Really? They don't?
It's okay, though.
Gosh.
It's okay.
Man, you remind me of all the important things,
I try.
Colleen. You remind me of the things I forget. Not everybody drinks vodka Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I know. Gosh, why not?
So the book helped.
Absolutely. The book really helped. It helped give me that confidence, the ability to be able to stand up and take the next step forward, because you can't live in fear. Fear is very real, but it's in where you direct your steps and how you direct them and how you pursue them and how you choose to move forward that really is the difference maker.
So once you pass that test, and then, your husband got furloughed. So tell us kind of like where y'all are together as husband and wife and your business and how successful you are and the kids and how everything is kind of literally transformed. Are you still living with your mom?
Great
where are you at now?
No, we are not living with my mom. That lasted for 3 months until we moved into our own house. She lives 10 minutes down the road from us. So we see her occasionally. We're both very busy.
Great.
Where we are now is incredible. The best we've ever been in our marriage, in our love for each other, in our family life, honestly. 2020 obviously has been a massive crapshoot. Nobody likes COVID. Nobody likes being quarantined. Nobody likes losing their job, especially when you question, can I even pay this month's mortgage? Am I going to lose the house? Very real fear, honestly. And it's very easy to still live in it because we went through it again this year.
Fear.
So he was furloughed in spring.
Right.
He was told in July that they were being released, all of them. He was a general manager of this corporate dining facility in Uptown Charlotte. And at that point, he had actually, this is funny, this past spring, gone to real estate school to get his license because our thought was, we'll be this power team. We can do this together. And so once he was furloughed, that was really his opportunity to say, well, at least I have my real estate license, so I guess I can try this because the market has been incredible this year for real estate. We've had extremely low interest rates. Buyers are out the wazoo, which is so amazing. Inventory has been very low, so it's obviously been tricky. And it's not just here. I know it's in every state.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
Right.
But we really thought, you know what? Maybe this was
Everywhere.
God's great plan for us all along, was to take him out of a job where he was constantly serving others and so busy, where we could actually spend time together serving each other and serving people together. So fortunately for that, he ended up, it was kind of difficult for him to really just rely on that being the full source, because at the same time, when you're in real estate, you don't have benefits, you're self-employed.
Oh yeah. I hear you, girl.
You know it all. You have to, you're 1099. So you got to save up for your own taxes and everything. And when you have 5 kids, that's really difficult.
Yep.
So he ended up getting a job with a mortgage company who I work with frequently. So I am so blessed by that because now, we've got the benefits, but he's in a completely new industry where he's really learning and he loves to learn. He's a very analytical person. I'm the very expressive person. And so we actually have made a really great team with us because I can help people buy the houses, but he is learning to help people financially be able to fund the houses.
Awesome.
And so over time, this is going to be great, but we get to go to the same place of work every day. We get to eat lunch together. We take walks every 2 hours because nobody wants... It's funny. We laugh. We're like, nobody wants office chair butt. So get up out of that chair and walk every 2 hours.
I'm gonna start doing that for sure. So awesome.
It's just been great for our family. Honestly, it's been phenomenal. So fast forward, I want to come to this point of saying yes. I'll surrender to God's plan took me from busting my butt where I was making, I don't know, we'll call it maybe $30,000 a year on a good year. Because I was still working my way up the chain, right? Trying to build business. Busting my butt, working long hours to make maybe 30 a year, to where in my first full year of real estate, I've sold 2.5 million in sales volume, and that equates to about $70,000 in income.
Wow.
And that is huge because that's life-changing money. And there was so much fear along the way, but it came in believing in yourself, reaffirming yourself, knowing that you've got this. And as long as you've got breath in you every day, then you have to pull yourself up out of that bed for yourself, for the sake of your family or your loved ones or your partner or whoever you're with, or even just yourself, to be better and do better.
Right.
And that's kind of where we are now.
And so if you had a mantra that you would share with everyone after all that you've been through, the tumultuous choices and moving and taking care of your mom and having 5 kids and your husband losing his job and all the fear of starting a whole new industry and hoping and praying that you're going to be successful at it, do you have can you wrap it up in a sentence for everyone that, just to give hope and inspiration to everyone else? Because I think I know that you have a mantra and I think I've adopted it since you told me it.
Yes, I love this mantra. I can do hard things.
I love that mantra too, because it is so real, right? We're going to both start crying.
Yes. Yeah, because everything that you go through in life, I mean, sometimes you think, oh my gosh, this is the summit of the peak of everything that is hard and complicated. But when you reaffirm yourself, I can do hard things. If you take it step by step or day by day, that results in growth. You can do hard things. You can get through any circumstance that comes your way if you just believe in yourself. And yeah, that helped get us through so many times. That helped get us through almost divorce. That got us through losing jobs. That got us through sick moms, sick family members.
Right.
That got us through 2020.
Yep.
I can do hard things.
Yep.
So yeah,
moving,
it's huge.
creating a whole new culture of friends, and also being successful in a whole new industry that you were unfamiliar with, and you just tackled, like you tackle everything I've ever known you to do since I've known you. But it's such an exciting and happy story, and I love that you accomplished so much and overcame so much fear. I have to ask a couple fun questions. Well, at least one last fun question before we say goodbye. And I always love to ask this question, not only because we have sponsors on the program, but because I love to get to know not only my listeners, but my guests. And so I say, if you were Oprah and you were doing the My Favorite Things show, is there like one thing right now that you're obsessed with that you would give to everyone in the audience? Everyone gets a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. You know what I mean? Like, what is like one thing you're obsessed with right now that you would give to anyone if you were Oprah and you could?
I do. There is this local boutique, if this counts. It's called Vestique, Vestique.
Okay.
You can find them on Instagram. They are phenomenal. I love their clothing. And every time I'm there, I'm buying a cute pair of ripped jeans or a mini skirt or a sweater. They've just got so many classic but trendy items. Every time I'm wearing their sweaters, literally I get asked 100% of the time, oh my gosh, such a cute sweater. Where did you get that from? So I love Vestique, and they've got a couple locations around the Charlotte area. So I highly recommend y'all check them out because they also ship.
That is so cool. So now you have to let them know that you plug them on my podcast. So they need to subscribe and listen, and maybe they will become a sponsor, because we are obviously a podcast to fun and funky and fresh and women that can get through hard things. And everybody needs a cute mini skirt, you know. And
yeah, they
do. I know, a jean skirt all day long.
Yes.
I know. Some people are probably rolling their eyes at us right now, like, really? Are these the cheerleaders from like what's that? The Mean Girls show? But no, I believe everyone can rock a jean skirt.
Kimberly, they also sell leather Spanx. So if you don't want a mini jean skirt, honey, go get yourself a pair of leather Spanx, because Spanx will do anything for you all day, every day.
I agree with you so much. It has been so much fun catching up with you in more of a, conversational, professional way versus like our normal friend way, which is like, blah, 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 blah. If I have 5 kids that are starving, I got to go buy. So I just am so grateful for you and your message, and for being transparent and telling us your story, because some of that, talking about marriages falling apart and moms being, sick, all that kind of stuff is hard. That's all hard stuff. And I'm so proud to know you and call you my friend. And I'm so proud to know that you can get through hard things. And I hope that everyone that listened today to Fearlessly Authentique knows that being authentic and listening to your true inner self, whether that's God or Buddha or spiritual, anything, or your inner heart, that you can do hard things. I love that mantra. I love you, Colleen Martens. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been so fun. Let's do this again.
Yes, we want you to come back and fill us in more on how your business has grown, and some of your other fun tips for cute clothes, because you are always like literally put together to the nines. So love you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you too, friend. Thank you.
Have a great one. And
you too. I'll talk to you later.
That is the end of this episode of Fearlessly Authentique. If y'all want to check out the clothing store that she mentioned, it is called
Vestique. VES, like vest, and then teak, like a boutique. So Vestique.
TIQUE. Great. So we'll definitely hit them up and send them the episode of this podcast because clearly they are doing great things for you. You're getting so many compliments on your wardrobe. So
They sure are.
All right. Kiss your husband and your 5 kids. Have a great night.
I will. You too, love. Talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Fearlessly Authentic. My mom hopes this episode empowered you to be fearless. Please remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Share, rate, and comment because my mom wants to hear all of your feedback. Contact her directly at fearless@fearlesslyauthentic.com. Hosted and executive produced by my mom, Kimberly Warner, produced and mixed by Steve Hawkins, and co-hosted by Eddie Polanzani. Connect with us on social media via fearlesslyauthentic.com. Copyright Fearlessly Authentic 2020.